When I was in vet school, I remember these guest speakers would come in and they would give talks to, the class or clubs or the school as a whole. And over again, you would hear this same phrase from just so many of them. And that was that veterinary medicine was the greatest profession on earth. And as a person who sort of came in sideways into this career, who did not necessarily set out as a child to be a veterinarian, and by not necessarily, I mean not at all, that was encouraging to me. I mean, inspiring even, right? Like after my weird, tortuous path to get into this, I finally chose a profession that other people thought, you know what, this is pretty great. Over and over and over again, you would hear it. So I felt pretty good. But the thing is that since I've graduated, that picture has become a little bit less clear. It's just a little bit foggier, right? Yes, there's a lot of people who love what it is that they do, but there's a lot of people who don't. And, if the profession is so great, it kind of leaves the rest of us wondering, what's wrong with us? Why is it that people have come in and said that over and over and over again? And what is the disparity between, these experiences that we have? Because overall, there is a huge commonality to what it is that we're doing, to the experiences that we have. So why is it that some people feel one way and other people feel the complete opposite? And so I'm always curious. Whenever I talk to people, I want to know their story. How is it that they got into this field and how do they feel about it? It wasn't until about the last year and a half or so that I finally landed on this side of the fence where I actually do find a lot of joy and comfort and purpose even in what it is that I do. But a year and a half ago, I was ready to leave. I was ready to quit the field. Hell with the several hundreds of thousands of dollars of veterinary school loans. I guess I'll figure that out because I can't do this anymore. But in the many conversations that I've had over the years with all of the people that I've come across, it has given me a sort of insight into the fields and the job and all of that, but mostly into myself that has allowed me to sort of recalibrate, reconfigure my own philosophy surrounding my role in this job and in this field. And it has given me a pretty decent level of satisfaction. Since 2018, I've been working as a relief emergency veterinarian. I travel over many states. I've worked at over 35 hospitals, well over 10,000 hours, just so many shifts that I've picked up, far exceeding what I would have picked up if I just stuck with a normal job. But that's not me. So, I went off into the world and I did this giant traveling thing. And as a result, I've been able to see how a variety of hospitals work. I get to meet a ton of people and see kind of how they're approaching it. And the beautiful thing for me is that I've been able to talk to so many people about their own experiences within this industry. How did they get here? How were they surviving? What do they want to do from here? And what I found is that how they're dealing with the struggles and how they're sort of capturing the joys is different, because as it turns out, this as a profession is one of humanity, and that's one that I'm inherently interested in. So when I was young, I was a ham. I was a theater nerd. I did improv comedy in high school. I even did it professionally when I was in college and then beyond. I moved to Chicago. I did it out there. I pursued a master's in chemistry while writing a rock opera. So, this idea of the humanity of this thing has always been interesting to me. And so veterinary medicine sort of as a whole is this picture of people. And then add to that as I travel, I get to talk to so many people about their own experiences. How did they even get into this field? How did they get to this place within the field? How are they, managing their struggles? And what is it that we want to do next? So at its core, The Greatest Profession podcast is a long-form story about the humanity behind the veil of veterinary medicine. It's about how we as people engage with this unique, difficult yet rewarding and dynamic vocation. It's about what we all share, how we're all in this together, and how we're different as well, because that's who we are. That's people. That's this world that we live in. We're all on the same rock, spinning at the same speed. We just all feel like we're alone sometimes. And through all of these conversations, again, I feel like I have become a better doctor. I've gained more insight and satisfaction into my own role within the profession. And I'm happy with what it is that I'm doing. And I didn't think that was possible. And so this podcast is a way to share some of this with you, no matter what it is that you're doing. Maybe you're doing the same thing. Maybe you're sitting behind the wheel of a Honda Accord and traveling up and down I-95 to various hospitals for these overnight shifts. Or maybe you're just starting out and you're not quite sure how, you're just curious about how we're all doing. Or maybe you're at a crossroads and you're trying to decide what to do from here. Whatever it is to you, I'm hoping that this podcast provides you with just a little bit more in-depth insight into the people who are doing this work every day. So is veterinary medicine the greatest profession? Well, that's for you to decide. And if nothing else, maybe this shows you that we're all just trying to figure that out as well. This is your host, Matt Asciutto. Thank you for listening, for being my colleagues, and for coming along for the ride on this, the greatest profession.